Hello, everyone, and welcome live to 3WideTV, tonight's broadcast of the Total Nonstop Racing League. I am Peter Short, and alongside me is not Bob Giaquinto tonight, because Bob's in the race. It is none other than Garrett Gleason. Garrett, great to have you back up here in the 3WideTV booth here. We're in Long Pond, Pennsylvania, up in the Pocono Mountains here. The Tricky Triangle, what turn for? It's going to be a lot of fun here tonight.
It's going to be a lot of fun, Peter. And speaking of tricky, I had a little problem with the math before the race. We were just talking how many laps I made this race, and I forgot how many miles my local track was around. So I'm off to a great start. Maybe best I'm not out there on the track, because clearly I have either a concussion or heat stroke. But you've carried me before, and I'm sure we'll have a fun broadcast here at Pocono. What a beautiful racetrack and a beautiful area.
Oh, yeah, for sure. As we move over into the qualifying session already, Tristan Thuggy Maher was atop the board in practice. But one thing to mention, Garrett, is a lot of those times that we saw in practice actually were draft laps. Drivers getting a little bit of aid off the back of another driver in front of them. So you would think here in qualifying we could see a completely different qualifying order than what we saw in practice.
Absolutely, Peter. And these guys, in practice, some of these guys took to the track very early on, and the track heated up, and then guys could not replicate those fast laps. So I'm not sure everyone knows what they have out there, Peter. I ran a couple laps. I think my best was like a 55.2, and that was without draft. I heard some guys hitting about a 55.1, 55 flat, and saying that was about all they had. So I'm curious to see where these qualifying times shape up, and it looks like Jimbo, another local boy, is out there first.
Yeah, Jimbo in the number 18 Ford Mustang there in the short chute between turns number 2 and 3. Here he is through turn number 3. And I think the big question in the chat here tonight is, do you know the 3 racetracks that the 3 corners here at Pocono Raceway were originally designed after? Yes, that's right. The Pocono Raceway was kind of an amalgamation of 3 different racetracks, and curious to know if you in the chat know what those 3 tracks were, as the number 18 of Jimbo Casterline heads out of turn number 1. The highest banked of all the corners here at Pocono, down the back straight here, about to head off into turn number 2 here, which is a sweeping corner. In fact, the shortest corner on the racetrack. He gets a little bit tight through the center of the corner, and Garrett slides up the racetrack.
Yeah, that turn 2 is pretty tricky out there, Peter. That was the one I was struggling with the most in practice. And you look at Philip Scott here making the run down the front stretch. It is such a long front stretch, and getting through turn 3 is so critical to carry that speed down to turn 1. And Philip Scott is a tremendous road racer, and I feel like that's going to help him here at a track like Pocono.
Yeah, the number 99 of Philip Scott, though, third on the board. Jason Gracias at 54.61 atop the board for right now. Edwards in second, Philip Scott third, Shane Ewing over a second off the pace, and then Jimbo almost 2.5 seconds off the pace. So lap time's kind of all over the place right now here in qualifying. Let's check out one of those other drivers out there in the field. That is Robert Tripp. He is in the number 35 Polyhedral Cathedral machine. He jumps up to 4th spot on the board. And Bob Giaquinto is in the race here tonight, currently not out there on the racetrack. Here was the fastest driver in practice a little while ago, the Eclipse Photography Ford Mustang of Tristan Thuggy Maher, coming down here to, I believe this is going to start his qualifying session, as he's still got a little bit of time to get his lap time in there. Qualifying ticker just ticked under 2 minutes, so you can see that now on the board. And I think, Garrett, you even turned a lap here in qualifying. Lucky number 7 for number 7.
Peter, I'm lucky to have a friend such as Brian Rubel. He has a newborn at the house. Must have been bored or got the young man to bed, and he's out there in the number 7 machine making sure I get some points so I could be up here with you. So I appreciate Brian jumping in, the Zorse-powered number 7 Coleman's Care Chevrolet, and maybe he'll race the whole race, Peter, and put a good run together. That number 7 has had some speed all season long, and I'm kind of heartbroken to not be out there, but it's for a good cause. Bob deserves to race, especially when he's sponsoring. It's his home track as well.
Of course, tonight is the Giaquinto Shoe Repair 140 here in the Total Nonstop Racing 3-Wide Cup Series, presented by the Schue's Lawn Care Service. And got to give them a big shout out this season for helping with the funds here in TNR, as Tristan Thuggy Maher was fastest of all in practice, goes second of all here in qualifying, not able to dethrone Jason Gracias. James Morello in the number 13 machine goes fourth spot on the board with a lap time. Here's Josh Sobel hustling his way through turns number 3. Turn number 3, rather. Singular, not plural. It's not 3 and 4. I was about to say 3 and 4. So used to saying that here. Pocono, there is no turn 4. What turn 4? This place doesn't have one of those. As Josh Sobel will put his number 75 inside the top 10. Currently only one driver out there on the racetrack and is well off the pace. That is the number 88 of Andrew Beach. Slow right now. Does not look like he will be able to get a lap time in because the qualifying timer has fallen to 0, and that means Jason Gracias here, pretty much no surprise there, Garrett, that it will be Jason Gracias on the pole. We've seen that kind of time and time again here in the 3WideTV Cup Series. But let's see if we can bring up the starting lineup for everyone at home so they can follow along here for the Giaquinto Shoe Repair 140, and starting on the pole, Jason Gracias, and the number 1 car starting in first. How about that? Tristan Thuggy Maher will be starting in second in the number 17. Bill Edwards on the inside row number 2 with his Silent Syndicate Racing teammate there in the number 13, James Lorello. Lorello hoping to have a good showing this week after last week's race got off to a terrible start at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Mike Floppy Tellier will be on the inside of row number 3. Philip Scott will be starting alongside him. Shane Ewing and Josh Sobel will make up row number 4 with Vincent Valvano and Robert Tripp rounding out our top 10 here, Garrett.
Yeah, starting 11th, Jake Eisberg in the 42. We have Brian Rubel in the number 7, rolling off in 12th. We have Jimbo starting the number 18 machine in 13th position. Andrew Beach to his outside in the 88. Jeff Price rounds out your top 15 in the number 39. Stephen Doziak to his outside in the 55. Bob Giaquinto, 23rd starting position. And Jason Schue in 18th.
So 18 drivers will be starting here tonight as we will let these drivers get to it. All the drivers getting to their cars as those cars kind of pop up one by one. That's a really cool view there, Garrett, here on the front stretch. Look at all those cars and all the colors. We got blue, we got pink, we got purple. In fact, a couple of purple machines, black, red, even bright green back there. I think that's Steven Doziak with his fruit stripe machine. Yeah, I don't know why he's sponsored. I'd like to hear the story of why he's sponsored by Fruit Stripe. And Rubel there having a little bit of problems getting the Coleman's Care number 7. I think he has to whip those Zorses or something like that. Maybe a little bit of animal abuse there to get those Zorses going. But Rubel finally does get the number 7 machine fired up and rolling here as we start our one and only pace lap around the Pocono Raceway.
Peter, you know what the problem is? That number 7 is the seat in there is for a fat guy. Brian's tall and skinny. It has to be hard for him to get his feet on the pedals, so I'm going to hope he is safe out there and is able to complete some laps. But it's not easy taking over for a fat guy, just like I'm taking over for Bob tonight in the booth.
Well, I'll tell you what, we had this wonderful buffet here before the start of the race for all of us commentators to munch on. Once Garrett came up here, it was gone. It was gone in about 5 minutes. Now, the buffet was nothing too special. It was just Domino's Pizza because that's the only thing we can find here anywhere close to Long Pond, Pennsylvania. But hey, you know what? Garrett ate all of it. So I hope you folks at home are not waiting around for a slice of pizza because it's gone. It's gone, folks. And the good news, though, is that the iRacing pace truck is about to be gone as well. And we will get tonight's race underway. It'll be 70 laps, which by my math works out to 175 miles here around the Pocono Raceway. Green flag in hand. We will see the stage caution at lap number 15 as Jason Gracias sees the green flag. We're racing here, Garrett, at Pocono.
Here we go, Peter. What a beautiful sight. 2x2, and we have a car already out of line. That's what Pocono is all about. Take every opportunity you can to make these passes, and he made that one look pretty easy down. Shane Ewing, one of the best in the business, and you can see why right there as they're 3 wide in turn 1.
3 wide in turn 1. Bill Edwards on the inside. The number 13 of Lorello in the middle. Number 17, Tristan Thuggy Maher, rather, going all the way up to the top side. Now we go back to 2x2. Edwards not in line with the draft. He's still got a nose to the inside of his teammate, the number 13 of Lorello, but he pushes up, slides in front of Philip Scott. Garrett, these cars are looking really pushy in turn number 2. We saw that with Jimbo Casterline in qualifying just a little while ago, but here comes Lorello diving down to the inside for second. I just think back to last week, Garrett, we saw Jason Gracias, a dominant performance at Atlanta Motor Speedway, led from the front, had the clean air on the nose of the number 1 machine, and it seems like clean air is extremely important, and Gracias has that right now, already up over a half-second lead on Tristan Maher.
Peter, clean air is very important on these next-gen cars, and I wouldn't be surprised to see someone do a strategy call, especially before the stage break here. Try something different, get out front, and take advantage of that, Peter, because these cars, they are a blast to drive. I'm having the most fun I've had on iRacing, but they are also very difficult to pass, and it can get frustrating out there. So if you could get that clean air, do it and take advantage.
Looking a little bit further back in the pack, here is Bob Giaquinto. Bob and his father are sponsors of tonight's Giaquinto Shoe Repair 140. Bob, not alongside me. It's Garrett Gleason this week, if you're just now tuning on in. Bob is running right now in the 14th position, battling back there with Andrew Beach and Stephen Dosiak Jr., who has been doing very well in the golf course as of late, just kind of languishing around in the 16th position. Not doing well on the racetrack, but doing well on the golf course. Meanwhile, up towards the front of the field, here is a battle breaking out for the 4th position. That's Bill Edwards to the high side, Philip Scott on the inside, and just kind of creeping back behind them is our Auto Club winner from a few weeks ago, Shane Ewing, in the number 32 Rayovac Toyota Camry. He's just trying to figure out which of these 2 drivers he wants to go with, Garrett, because the 50 was looking to the inside, but no longer, as Philip Scott able to pull away and hold on to that 4th position. Meanwhile, up in front of him, side-by-side battle for second between Maher and Lorello. Lorello on the outside, but look at that gap that Jason Gracias has opened up here, Garrett. These 2 have been battling it out, and in doing so, been losing a ton of time to our leader. Here comes Philip Scott now looking to the inside in the number 99 as Shane Ewing tries to get a toe off the back of Scott, looking to the inside of the 50 machine of Edwards as we get a couple more positions changing hands up at the top of the field.
It looks like Tristan's going to lose that battle to Lorello, and Philip Scott was going to take advantage, but as I say that, Philip gets back in line and Tristan settles into 3rd place. But like you said, they're battling amongst themselves, and Jason Gracias is loving it as he's pulling away. And a second-and-a-half lead here at Pocono, you could see the gap of this in-car view here of Philip Scott. It is a huge lead for this early on in the race.
Yeah, up at the top of your screen, you'll be able to see the last lap times of the different drivers as they run through the field. You'll also be able to see the live positions there on the left-hand side of the screen here tonight on 3WideTV. So that's the kind of the good news. You can follow along with who's catching who's pulling away from who, as Philip Scott now having another look to the inside as they head off towards turn number 1. Look at Maher all the way up there. That's not a good spot. Tristan up in the marbles up there. You see all those marbles right up there by the wall, losing a little bit of grip and also losing the position there to Philip Scott. That's not very good there, Tristan. You want to be a little bit lower on the racetrack, but I think that's good to at least learn that lesson early on lap number 5 and lap number 69.
Absolutely, Peter. You want to test things like that out early in the race. They're not going to hurt you as much now, but you're right. Lap 69 doing that, you'd see what would happen. You'd end up losing all your momentum. You might cost yourself a good run as Shane Ewing looks to the inside here. That's going to be a tough pass to pull off here with the momentum the 17 is going to have.
Oh,
but
contact!
Oh, no!
Shane Ewing and Maher there having a little bit of contact. You said it was going to be difficult to make that pass stick, but let's see if we can get another look at that one, because I think Maher might have clipped the wall. Here we go on the 3WideTV replay. Look at Ewing. Ducks low out of turn number 2, but you said, Garrett, it's going to be a tough pass. It's very flat, this portion of the racetrack. You want to get as low as you can. They started to drift up the racetrack right there, and Maher bounces it off the outside wall, comes back down, but look at this fantastic save out of the 32 of Ewing. Does not even hit the inside wall. That is just brilliant driving out of the number 32 Rayovac machine. He's lost a couple of positions, and he might have some right side damage after that contact with Maher. But the good news is it didn't get any worse. He has fallen to the 9th position here, but Garrett, it could have been a lot worse. Fantastic save out of Shane Ewing.
Nothing that Shane Ewing does on track, Peter, surprises me. He is so talented and so experienced. He was actually telling me a story a couple weeks ago. He's been sim racing since like 1995, and he has a tremendous story, and I'm not going to spoil it, but if we ever get the chance to interview him when we're together, we're definitely going to bring it up. He's going to tell you about his origins in sim racing. And I was only 5 years old in 1995, so to me that's just incredible. But he'll be able to get that number 32, the pit road here at the stage break, and get that damage fixed, and I look for him to be a contender when this thing is all said and done.
Well, how about this? Why don't we try and put a pin in that one and see if we can follow up during the stage caution. That stage caution going to come out around lap number 15 here, so just in about 8 laps time from right now, as Ewing losing a little bit of time now to the drivers in front of him. Driver that's not really losing time, though, to anyone on the racetrack, that is Jason Gracias. He's lost maybe a fraction of a second to Philip Scott back behind him. James Arello has settled into 3rd position. Maher, after making contact with the outside wall a little while ago, has settled into 4th, then a gap back to Bill Edwards, and then another second or so back to Tellier, half second back to Sobel, and then he's got Valvano and Ewing kind of right there, but gaps starting to form throughout the field as Brian Rubel has taken the Zorse-powered machine, just not enough Zorses under the number 7 to see out. I guess Garrett kind of doing a little bit of start and park action here tonight in the number 7 machine, but doesn't look like a whole lot of battles on the left-hand side of your screen as the field separates out, but I am noticing that Philip Scott is closing in on Jason Gracias just a little bit. Let's see if we can bring up this kind of the time delta here. Over the last 5 laps here, look at that, Garrett. Philip Scott's closed in by about a full second, gone from almost 2 full seconds now to just about a second. If he can keep that up, he will be right on the back bumper of the number 1 machine before the stage caution, but catching him is one thing, passing is another.
Absolutely, Peter. We say that every week. We're up here, and it's always true. But Phil Scott, the last 2 laps, I've got him for about 6/10 on the number 1. My math's not that great, as we said earlier in the race, but he's getting a little drafting help from James Lorello, who's actually closing the gap as well. So we're going to see if these 2 guys will work together to get to that 1. And then, like you said, they're going to have to sort it out and see who's going to try to make the pass. And if Phil tries to make the pass, maybe James or Tristan might complicate things, and then Jason will be able to build his lead right back up.
Yeah, and Thuggy back there in 4th, I thought his race might be done after that contact with the outside wall, but he's now bump drafting James Arello here down the front stretch. Meanwhile, back this group here, side by side, that is the number 75 looking to the inside of the 97, so give that spot to Josh Sobel, move him up to 6th. Meanwhile, Shane Ewing trying to bounce back after that near collision. Remember, we'll get that one and only stage caution here in just a handful of laps. So that will be good news for Ewing, as he'll get a little bit of a reset on the number 32, but he whips around the outside of Vincent Valvano to put Valvano back into 9th. Now Tellier has a little bit of a moment out of turn 2. Down the short chute, nothing that Ewing can do to capitalize on that just yet. But we're coming to 5 laps left until the end of stage number 1. And look at that ticker, top left-hand corner of your screen. We looked away for just a moment, but we have a new 3rd place driver. That is Tristan Thuggy Maher, was able to get around James Lorello in that last lap. So move him up to 3rd. And what can he do? Can he push the number 99 of Philip Scott up towards Jason Gracias? Because now it's down to about a half second. This front bunch here kind of accordioning back together. Look at Bill Edwards. He's still kind of tagging on to this group as well.
This is going to be a great battle for the stage win, because Philip's going to get there. It's just, will he be able to make the pass in the right area of the racetrack? As we know, Philip's got a very aggressive driver out there, and sometimes with Philip, he gets over-aggressive, and he does not calculate his passes as well as he should, and it will cost him a position to Tristan, a position to James, and so on. So, Philip, you know you're going to get there. Start thinking about it now, where you're going to try to pass him. But he might not be in second place very long if that 17 has a lot of speed, even after that contact with the outside wall.
Yeah, if anything, that contact with the outside wall has made him a little bit faster as they are now nose to tail here down the front stretch. Dougie trying to do all he can do to try and push the 99 of Philip Scott a little bit closer to the back bumper of the MaxGraphics.co number 1 of Gracias as they head out of turn number 1 here. Gracias now holding on to just a 0.3 of a second lead. These two drivers nose to tail, a couple of Ford Mustangs running down that Chevrolet Camaro brilliantly. They gained about 0.2 of a second there, Garrett, between turn 1 as Lorello, you saw him in the back corner of the screen, had a huge moment off of turn number 2. Not sure if he clipped the wall or anything like that, but that will allow Bill Edwards to close on in. Meanwhile, we'll watch this battle for the race lead as we have just 3 more laps until the stage caution here at the Pocono Raceway. If you're just now joining us, welcome to the Giaquinto Shoe Repair 140 here in the 3WideTV Cup Series presented by Shoes Lawn Service and the Total Nonstop Racing League. Johnny Williams in the chat. Johnny, I believe Johnny's getting a lot of rain. We had a lot of rain here in Texas today. Johnny's now on the receiving end of some of that rain. Didn't want to have to pack up all of his stuff and move it on out into the rain. But look at this new second place driver, Tristan Thuggy Maher. He's right there, Garrett. He got around Philip Scott while, again, we were looking away. We look away, and Tristan Maher picks up another spot. Maybe we just shouldn't focus on Thuggy all night long and just run away with the show, because every time we look away, he makes a pass.
Yeah, I don't know why they're calling him Thuggy, Peter. Maybe they should call him Sneaky the way he's making his way up through this field. It's like we count him out, and all of a sudden he's here battling for the lead. And Peter, before we miss this battle, because we'll probably pan away to something else, I'm curious if anyone pits here before this stage break. Guys that maybe aren't racing for points might try to take advantage of that strategy I talked about earlier. As Tristan has the inside position in turn 1, we'll see if that number 1 keeps the momentum on the outside.
Well, we got one driver watching 3WideTV right now while driving, Jake Eisberg. And the number 42 has elected to come down pit road, so he's the only driver who's done so. Maher had a peek to the inside there on the front stretch, but could not quite pull off the pass. We'll see whether he has another good run off of turn number 3. He had a great run off turn number 3 that last time. He backed up his corner there, Garrett, but now Gracias pulling away just a little bit, just about the 0.3 of a second, as we have 1 lap left this time by in the stage. And look who's creeping up into the picture. He's gained about another half second on this group back there. Oh, that's not the right one. Wanted to click on Bill Edwards. There is the number 50 machine. He's closed in on this front pack. He's got a shot at getting around Philip Scott here as they head off towards turn number 1. Here comes the number 50 as he looks to the inside. Philip gonna let him on by. Philip's gonna have to try and fight for the spot, but nothing he can do as Bill Edwards works his way up into third. And now look at this group of drivers. Garrett, we're coming to the end of the first stage as Maher, I thought he was going to stay to the inside, but he decided not to. Gracias in a good spot here as Edwards now starting to close in on Maher as they head off towards turn number 2. Maher's going to have a big turn 3 here if he's going to want to win the stage as he looks to the inside. Here we go, Garrett.
I love seeing this aggressiveness in Tristan Maher as he dives to the inside, giving that number 17. He clips photography forward, everything it has, and there's going to be a drag race down the front stretch, and neither one of these guys is going to give an inch, Peter, as they come to the stage break's going to be when Mike crosses the line, but Jason Gracias still in the lead, held it on, but Tristan, what a run.
Yeah, Jason Gracias will win the stage. There's the caution. I'm a bit surprised there, Garrett, that I was expecting Maher to really side draft off of turn number 3. He thought about it, but he thought about it really late. He thought about it just when they were getting close to the line. Not sure if that would have made any type of difference or anything like that, but definitely noticed that might have been a little bit too late there in the side drafting department. But that is caution number 1 here tonight, the one and only stage break. Jason Gracias gets 8 bonus points for winning the stage. Maher picks up 7, Edwards 6, Scott 5, Lorello 4, Sobel 3, Valvano 2, and Mike Floppy Tellier rounds out our top 8, receiving the last bonus point for the stage 1, well, only stage results that we have here in Total Nonstop Racing League. Just whet your appetite here. We'll throw out the iRacing pace car. The field will catch that pace car, slow it down, and I'm sure we'll see the rest of them on pit road. Now, one thing to note, I thought Jake Eisberg was coming down to pit, Garrett, because of, trying to use that strategy. Well, he's still on pit road, so maybe he was just calling it a night in the number 42 machine. Shane Ewing also elected to pit on lap number 14 as well. So Shane's going to be able to pick up that track position when all the leaders come down pit road. So I guess we had one driver, Shane Ewing, watching the broadcast and listen to the Garrett Gleason School of Tricks.
Well, Shane's a lot better of a driver and much smarter than I am out there, but I'm glad to not feel so stupid for once in my life. So thanks, Shane, and I hope it works out for you. I don't know how long his pit stop was, if he had a lot of damage, was able to get that fixed, or didn't do so under green. I'll be curious to see if he stays out, or perhaps he pitted for service and then he's going to come get damage fixed or whatever. But I guess we'll see, but I expect to see all these other vehicles coming down on pit road, and we'll see what the battle looks like when they get back out there.
Yeah, that we will. Jason Gracias, our race leader, Tristan Thuggy Maher, Bill Edwards. I was really impressed there, Garrett, with the number 50 of Bill Edwards coming in really late in that battle up front. He was absolutely mowing him down. You'd think that maybe if there was another 2 or 3 laps, he would have been fighting for the stage win. We'll have to keep our eyes on that as the race goes on here tonight, on whether or not he can kind of replicate that long run pace, as pretty much the entire field is coming down to their pit crew right now. Jason Gracias started on the pole. He'll have the pit stall right here at the end of pit lane, and see if he can hold station off pit road as everyone dives into their box. Everyone doing a good job. Ooh, I think 99 there, Philip Scott might have had to throw it in reverse a little bit, Garrett, as Jeff Price is having problems there at the top of your screen. The Back Channel Productions, that red Camaro, not able to find his pit box. Finally, he does. Gracias down and away. Bill Edwards down and away. He's going to come off pit lane here second. Third to Thuggy Maher, Philip Scott, and Mike Floppy Tellier. Tellier picking up a couple of spots there under this caution. It looks like James Arello here, Garrett. We saw him have some trouble, maybe some contact with the outside wall out of turn 2. He's staying in his pit box here for an extended stay. Finally gets rolling. By my timer, that's a 40-second pit stop for him. Jake Eisberg in the number 42 machine. He's still sitting on pit road. We mentioned that he came down pit road on lap number 12. Actually, he pitted on lap 13. Let's see if there's a story to this. Let's just go back just on 3WideTV to when Jake Eisberg said he came down pit road. He must have had some pretty significant contact with the outside wall. Look at that right front suspension there. It is completely broken. So he must have had some significant contact. You see some damage on the right front as well there. Let's see if we can maybe roll the tape back a little bit further and see if we can figure out exactly what happened to the DeWalt machine, because broken suspension, that is indicative of something else happening out there on the racetrack, Garrett.
Absolutely, Peter. I'm curious to see if this was a single car deal where maybe he just got up out of the groove and pancaked that outside wall, or if there's another issue. But here we go, our 3WideTV replay, and it looks like just pushed up. Too much speed, Peter, from my point of view. You see anything different there?
Something seemed odd about that. Let's see if we can go kind of on board. I mean, yeah, it pushed, but he's entering really shallow here in the corner, gets into the corner, turns the wheel, and it just goes straight. It just goes straight up into the wall. Jimbo might have got a little piece of that as well, just a little bit back behind. Let's see if we can see from kind of on board with Jimbo. We've gone back a little bit too far. Never mind. But that seemed a little bit odd. Not exactly sure what happened there. But Shane Ewing, pace truck lights have turned off. That's kind of the good news. Bad news is we'll have to wait on the Shane Ewing story. Maybe if he finishes in the top 3, we can get that after the race. But he will be our race leader because he did stay out under this caution flag. He pitted a lap or two before the caution flag came out, and as such inherits the race lead in the Dizzy Motorsports Toyota Camry. We'll see what he can do here, Garrett, when the green flag falls. Slightly older tires, but he will have track position in the 32.
Track position, experience, and like we've alluded to, he's a really good, just a really good driver out there. So I expect him to put up a good fight here. We'll see what Jason Gracias does in dirty air for once. If Shane can get cleared, we'll see if the number one handles any differently for Jason. All these guys up front, guys that routinely race up there, so I expect a good battle. Looks like Floppy's creeping in, Josh Sobel's creeping in, Vincent Valvano's in the top 10, Beach and Doziak. So a lot of good drivers. Let's see what they have here on the second restart as we're going back green.
Yeah, green flag wave. Shane Ewing cutting across the nose there of Jason Gracias. Good restart for him. Look at Philip Scott, the World Ninja League Ford Mustang, all the way down to the inside of the racetrack. We were briefly 3 wide. They get everything sorted out before they make it to turn number 1. Scott down there still on the inside. Bill Edwards got clean air on the nose of the number 50. What can he do? Working his way off of turn 1 down the backstretch. He's also going to have drafting help. Now Telly are going to give a little bit of drafting help to Philip Scott, but nothing doing there. Edwards with that strong run from the outside. Now going to have a look to the outside of Tristan Thuggy Maher in turn 2, but that's going to open the door for Philip Scott now to look back underneath him. But they all jumble back to single file. Andrew Beach a little bit further back, though, side by side with Lorello. Lorello going to have to gain quite a few spots after giving up quite a bit of track position with an extended stay on pit road. Out of turn 3, though, got to watch out for that wall. Ooh, Jeff Price there having a big wiggle in the back channel Production Chevrolet at the back of the screen. But Shane Ewing comes around to complete the first lap after the restart.
What a cool image, these cars coming down the front stretch. I'm not one that likes to go to Pocono, Peter. Like when the race comes, people offer me tickets. I say, no, I don't want them. But when you look at this out here and what racing this track provides on iRacing, you can't help but be impressed. Everyone feels like they're in this race. It's not a super speedway race. This is you're shifting. This is just race car drivers being race car drivers, and it's actually absolutely amazing. We see passes in the back of the field, guys running different grooves, and it's everything iRacing is supposed to be, and it's a pleasure to watch.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Meanwhile, the front of the field, turn number 3, Jason Gracias looking to the inside of Shane Ewing, completes the pass, so Gracias back up to the point. Ewing might be able to have another stab at the race lead here into turn number 1 as he sucks up to the back bumper. Gracias just kind of leaning to the inside just a little bit. Here comes Bill Edwards. He wants to have another crack at Philip Scott. Scott had worked his way on by the number 50 as he slid back to the 5th position. Looks like for right now, the field gets back to single file. There's the slower machine there of Eisberg. He's back on the racetrack, multiple laps down. However, race leaders are working lap number 21 right now. Eisberg still working lap number 12, so make that 9 laps between Eisberg and the rest of the field. Going to need quite a few cautions. Those, though, have been at a premium so far this season in the Total Nonstop Racing League. I think last week, Garrett, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like, Tellier, let's put a pin in that for a second. Tellier got down onto those rumble strips, but I think last week at Atlanta, we only had a handful of cautions, if not only one caution, which might have been the stage caution. But last week's race at Atlanta Motor Speedway was very, very good, very fun. Always puts on some good racing, does the Atlanta Motor Speedway, as does Pocono, and that's what we have on hand here tonight. Want to check out the chat. If you're in the chat, we want to hear from you. We got Joshua Kane saying, let's go, Jeff Price and Andrew Beach. Joshua, how you doing here tonight? Saying this makes him want to get back into iRacing. I'll tell you what, one of the best things about iRacing is when you find a good league, and this is one of those. It has really been, I mean TNR, Garrett, it got really big a couple of seasons ago. We had 35 car fields, but the quality of the racing wasn't exactly where we wanted it to be. Now I think the quality of the racing is where we want it to be, and we're still averaging, about 20 cars or so. So still a lot of fun. Yeah, sometimes you get some bad apples. Usually they're the ones who complain and leave, which is a good thing, that those are the ones that end up leaving. But right now, probably as stable as it has been since the inception of, the re-inception of Total Nonstop Racing League here on iRacing.
Absolutely, Peter. Everything you said is spot on, and I've talked to other league administrators, Chris Darling, Justin White. We've all said the same thing. If we could just get 20 guys or so that just race each other with respect, we could put on amazing shows in TNR, NSRA, what have you. And that's what we have right now. And it took, you're right, a couple of seasons of growing pains. We got too big too quickly. Guys were not racing with respect out there. They were using each other up. And I said, if we're going to keep doing this, we have to get back to being a brotherhood. Everyone on the track I've raced with this season, they're all good guys. They know each other, and that means a lot, Peter. When you race with the same people each week, you know what room you have out in track. You know who's going to be aggressive, who's not going to be aggressive. And every week, you get more and more comfortable people, and you're able to put on better races, and that's what we're after. I know there was a couple people disappointed after last week at Atlanta, and maybe the race didn't go their way. They felt like people were racing a little too aggressively. I talked to some drivers. It's over with. We're on to Pocono, and they're putting on a tremendous show so far.
Yeah, they are putting on a good show so far. Just now working lap number 25 of the scheduled 70 here tonight, 10 laps away from the cross flags. I know you got a little bit of track time in. You got to speak with several of these drivers here. What do you think the pit window looks like here tonight? Usually you think about 30 to 35 laps here at Pocono. Do you think we're in the window where they can just make it on one more stop from here?
Here, I actually did not bring that up. This was kind of a last-minute thing, getting into the booth. I'm going to see maybe if we get another caution, but they were able to make those first 15 laps pretty easily on fuel. Nobody stopped, so I'm assuming you're right, somewhere around 25-ish plus laps, Peter. But I guess we're gonna find out together, and that's one of the things here being in the broadcast booth. I didn't even hit my F3 to look at my fuel window, so. Yeah, ill-prepared, Peter, but that's why I'm not a professional like you are.
Hey, I'll tell you what, it doesn't really matter because we'll find out at the same time the chat does. And hey, we'll all find out together. We'll all be one big happy family at the end of the night here on 3WideTV. Speaking of nice happy family, our top 5 are nice happy family right now, with a little bit of separation to Mike Floppy Tellier, who is now under fire from Bill Edwards, who has been a little bit of a terrier over the start of the race. Seems like he drops back and then all of a sudden starts coming back with a vengeance as he looks to the inside of the Hello Kitty machine. That, of course, is the driver from Sarnia, Ontario, Floppy Tellier, running that pink number 97. Now he's going to fall back to the 7th spot there on the running order on the left-hand side of your screen here. But they have a gap up to Josh Sobel in the 5th place. I'm just wondering, if you're Bill Edwards, you know you want to save tire. But Garrett, he's saving so much tire that he's on the verge here of potentially losing the draft as Tellier kind of dives back to the inside, now slides up the racetrack. Nothing he can do. Edwards going to have that drive up off the corner. If anything, Tellier hurt himself because Lorello's got on by. Now here comes Valvano. Looks like Tellier here just drove it in way too hard there, Garrett. I was concerned about Bill Edwards losing the draft of the drivers in front of him. He had to do some evasive maneuvers there from Tellier, who got into turn 3 just a little bit too hot. And Tellier has absolutely paid for it, falling from 7th back to 9th now.
Mike's a guy that runs well at Pocono, and wasn't surprised to see him up near the top 5, but now that he's moving back here in the green run, usually Mike gets better as these runs go on. And this is a tremendous battle. I'm glad you touched on Josh Sobel. He's been steadily making his way through the field, battling Shane Ewing here for the 4th position. Looks like he has it, and looks like he'll be able to hold on to it. Tremendous run from that number 75. Josh, I'm getting to know him better and better. We've been teammates here, TNR, NSRA, and he always surprises me, Peter. He finds speed. He'll be the first guy in practice saying, I can't figure this track out. I'm horrible here. And then come the end of the race, you see him knocking on the door of the top 5 and in contention for a win. It's incredible how good he is.
Well, it doesn't matter if you find it out on lap number 1. All that matters is you find it out some point middle of the race. I hope you got a caution at some point around the time you figure out the racetrack, so you kind of reset. But definitely a driver who continues to learn the trade here in iRacing is one driver who is falling back through the field right now, Shane Ewing. Of course, he pitted a couple of laps before everyone else, so slightly older tires on the Rayovac Toyota Camry. Maybe the battery running out just a little bit as he starts to fly back through the field. Just lost that spot to Bill Edwards. And so, this is an interesting move. Josh Sobel coming down pit road here, Garrett, in the number 75 Chevrolet. It's only been about 13 laps since he was last on pit road. This seems a little bit early for me.
You're going to assume, Peter, he's going to come in again at around lap 50 and then 20. That's just a guess. But like you said, we're going to find out at the same time everyone else does.
Yeah, all by himself as well, so no drafting partners out there on the racetrack from whom he can benefit with. So we'll see what that all equates to. As Philip Scott, unforced error there, the number 99 World Ninja League machine, as he just scraped the wall in between turn 3 and 4. Going to lose a little bit of momentum from that. Hopefully no damage on his Ford Mustang. We saw him battling there with Tristan Thuggy Maher towards the end of the stage, which, Gary, you think about it, we had a 15 lap run, 15 full laps, is what I'm trying to say. And we started to see Tristan Thuggy Maher really start to turn up the wick after about 12 laps. Well, that's about where we are right now in this green flag run, and he's looking to the inside here of Philip Scott. Something about that Eclipse Photography Ford Mustang, he's starting to figure something out at this joint, especially in the long run as he makes that pass on in turn number 2. Maher's going to have his sights set on the race leader right there, a couple of car lengths in front of him. Jason Gracias here right now about just under 3/4 of a second, and then it's a big gap from Philip Scott back to Bill Edwards there, just languishing about a second and a half, as Arello is just behind his teammate of Edwards right there. And then you got to Shane Ewing, Vincent Valvano doing really well. How about Vinny Valvano, Garrett? He's a driver who just continues to impress me since he started iRacing. When he first started iRacing, folks, Valvano getting a top 10 would be a really good night. Now, Valvano's been knocking on the top 5 here pretty consistently here in the Total Nonstop Racing League. And look at this. He's dived to the inside of our Auto Club race winner, Shane Ewing, here off into turn number 2.
Vinny's one of those guys, Peter, that confidence is key. And he was lacking the confidence for so long because you're right. He was inexperienced. He hadn't been in these league races, done it before. He was trying to earn respect out there. And then the good runs started happening, Peter, and he just built on that. And I could not be more proud of Vincent Valvano. I absolutely love racing with him, talking with him. And we were talking last week, and I said, actually, I was talking to some of the kids at the school, and we were talking about just making friends. And I said, one of the coolest people you'll ever meet. I said, my friend Vinny on iRacing. I said, the dude's just awesome, and he's such a good race car driver. And his success, Peter, in a way, as he has to make a tremendous save. I feel like it's my success in a way. I just can't help but root for the guy as he keeps on going.
Garrett, that was a moment, and he just showed right there that he knows how to somehow how to save a race car. Let's go back and watch this as they headed off into turn number 1. Valvano getting a big shove from the number 97 of Tellier. They became a little bit detached, and Shane Ewing and Tellier having a little bit of extracurriculars as well. The big winner in all that mess was Andrew Beach, who snuck his way on through up in to the 6th position, rather. Let's see if we can get one more look at this. It's from the chopper cam. There we go. As they headed off into the corner. Man, great save there out of Vincent Valvano. We were just singing his praises, and he's now showing his car control. Valvano really, like I said, has extremely improved, and his confidence in the car. The fact that he was able to save that just shows the confidence that Vincent Valvano has in the car now that he didn't used to have before.
Yeah, when you make a save like that, your respect just goes right up. For everybody in the field just saw that. They said, wow, this guy can drive. And when he starts battling for position, you know you're in for a battle. So it's great to see him keep it straight. And Shane Ewing, the poor guy, he just feels like a pinball out there tonight. Every time someone has an oopsie, it feels like it's right into that number 32 Dizzy Motorsports Rayovac machine, as it looked like James Lorello pulled down pit road there, Peter.
Yeah, Lorello is indeed on pit road in Silent Syndicate Racing number 13 Chevy Camaro. Right here on the halfway mark, we've been green for about 18 laps or so, a little bit less than that, around 17 laps. So a bit surprising. Still, I think it's a little bit early. But Garrett, he's kind of making the call to come down onto pit road, get 4 fresh tires, and head back out there onto the racetrack and see what he can do with those 4 fresh Goodyear tires. As Jason Gracia is still your race leader by about 7/10 of a second, has not been challenged as much as what we saw at the end of the first stage, the one and only stage that we have here in TNR. I just wonder, Garrett, maybe Jason realized, you know what, I burned up my stuff a little bit too much there on that first stint. Let's be a little bit easier on this particular stint on those tires, and let's see if we can make them last just a little bit longer, and that's paying dividends now.
Peter, how many races have we run with Jason Gracia between both of us? 1,000 between broadcasting and racing with. It's not often that you see someone better on old tires than Jason Gracia, and Tristan Maher in that first stage was better than Jason Gracia on old tires. Now, Jason could have been saving something or whatever, playing some strategy for later in the race, but he made the adjustment, it seems like, Peter, like you said, and now he's being able to keep this half a second gap to this number 17, who just got a good run there through the tunnel. We'll see if he can keep that momentum, but Jason's adjusting, and that's what the best do, Peter. They learn, they adjust, and it's no surprise to see Jason getting a little better here in the second portion of this race.
Even Doziak Jr. just want to report that the Fruit Stripe machine has come down onto pit road to make a green flag pit stop here, as we are working lap number 37 now into the back half of tonight's technically 175-mile race here at the 2.5-mile Pocono Raceway, Long Pond, Pennsylvania, nestled in between, I think, Allentown and Scranton, if I recall from my Microsoft Flight Simulator flight this evening, Garrett. You know this geography a little bit better than I do, but it's pretty close to Scranton, Pennsylvania, just probably about a 30 to 45 minute car ride away from Scranton, if not maybe a little bit less. So if you're in this neck of the woods, this is a great racetrack to go to. Really cool racetrack, very unique racetrack as well. With the 3 unique corners, different banking, different corner lengths, and of course the longest front straightaway in all of NASCAR. At least it feels like the longest front straightaway. It goes on forever as this front straight, and that gives the car behind an opportunity to draft up like Tristan Dougie Meyer is doing right now.
Yeah, plenty of opportunity to draft and carry momentum here at Pocono. Like you said, that front stretch seems like it goes forever, and your math was about right there, Peter. I would say about 45, 50 minutes from where I live. I'm just south of Scranton here in Old Forge, and we have Doze and Jimbo. They're a little bit more south than I am, so they'd be able to get there a little quicker. But it's actually a beautiful drive up. Even if you just wanted to like drive past the track, it's a beautiful part of Pennsylvania and a vacation spot for some people up there in the Pocono Mountains. So if you ever get the chance, come visit. I mean, it's not the most exciting race on the circuit, but it's definitely some beautiful scenery, and you'll have a good time.
Yeah, I gotta say, doing my Microsoft Flight Simulator flight this evening with the setting sun over the Pocono Mountains and seeing all the greenery and all the trees, it was a picturesque flight. It's probably more picturesque in person than in a Microsoft Flight Simulator, but nonetheless, it really was a beautiful place to see from the virtual sky. And I'll tell you what else is beautiful. What we have right now on your screen, battle for the race lead here on lap number 39. Tristan Dougie Meyer has caught Jason Gracia. It finally has happened. He's been slowly chipping away at it, Garrett. Now, what can the number 17 Eclipse Photography Mustang do with our race leader? He's in all that dirty air, but he got a good run there through turn number 2. Got all the way down to that yellow line. Now he's going to look to the high side here down the short chute.
Wow, what a battle. These guys are not giving each other room. Again, it's like our stage break, Peter. Tristan's got that outside, and last time he was out there, remember, he ran out of room with the number 32 of Shane Ewing and sent Shane down to the inside wall. He doesn't want... Well, Peter, I think he got it again.
Just as you opened your mouth, you kind of somehow predicted the future on the fly. Right there is the exact same thing happened. Maher gets into that outside wall off of turn number 3. Now, the big question is, did that hurt him? It didn't seem to hurt him the first time he did it, and he got into the side of Ewing. Now does it hurt him? Visibly, I don't see any damage on the number 17, but that doesn't really mean anything in iRacing. You don't have to have a lot of damage in iRacing for your night to be completely ruined with the damage model. Hopefully it doesn't hurt the number 17 too much, because he was doing a great job as he clips the apron there. Garrett, he's trying to do a lot right now. He realized he made a big mistake. He's trying to compensate for that. Clipped that apron through turn number 2. Did a good job of saving the Ford, but now he's got to think, does he want to come down pit road? Does he want to see what the damage is on the number 17? Maybe that was his opportunity. Maybe he's used up his tires. He stays out another lap, but that gap to Jason Gracias is noticeably bigger than it was a lap or two ago.
Peter, I'm with you. I'm starting to think about strategy if I'm the 17 here. All right, I know I can compete with the number 1. I blew my opportunity, for lack of a better phrase. Now maybe I try to pit a lap earlier. Maybe I try to do something a little different here. Now, Peter, at this point, these guys are getting close to being able to make this, I imagine, if they stop here within a couple laps. So something to keep an eye on. These guys haven't been on pit road since, what, lap 16? So if the math adds up, these guys will be able to make one more stop and make it to the end.
Yeah, I was thinking that they'd be able to make it to about lap number 43, 44, 45, somewhere in that range. And that would solidly put them in the window to make it the rest of the way from there. So we'll see whether or not that does indeed happen. If you look at the current track map, there, bottom right-hand corner of your screen, you can see just how much the field is broken up. Now, we do have drivers like the number 55, the 75 there on the backstretch, and I believe the number 64 also has pitted. That's Vincent Valvano. So those drivers, the 55, the 75, and the 64 have all come down onto pit road to make a pit stop. The number 13 of James Arello also came down on lap number 34. So that number 13, as he heads off towards turn number 1, he potentially made his final pit stop of the race. I thought they could make it somewhere between 30 to 35 laps. Lorello pitted on 34, so he'd have to go about 36 laps to the end of the race. That seems to be maybe pushing it a little bit, but might be in that realm of being doable. But Lorello right now in the tunnel turn, while the leaders race their way off into turn number 1 here on your screen. Maher maybe just closing in a little bit again, Garrett. So maybe that damage was not all too bad. I think he was as kind of high up as maybe 6, almost 7 tenths of a second. Now back to 2 tenths of a second. He's got a good run off turn number 1 here into the tunnel turn.
Well, these two vehicles look like the class of the field tonight, Peter. These guys look like they're going to battle amongst themselves for the win here. And it just doesn't seem like Tristan can pull off the passes. He's going to try that outside lane again, Peter, but he's going to think better of it, duck back in line. He's just showing Jason that he's there. Hey, I fixed my mistake, and number 1 peeling off, coming down pit road for what we think is his final stop of the race. No mistakes, Peter. These cars do not stop as well as you'd think when you get towards your pit box.
Yeah, Jason Gracias is doing a great job there of peeling off. I was actually a little bit concerned that he was peeling off with not a lot of a gap there to the number 17. But Gracias comes down into his pit stall. This is the money stop, the last green flag pit stop of the race. He's made it about 26 laps, and there's 26 laps to go. Gets into his box right there behind the iRacing pace truck. Unfortunately, the camera cut right there as he was sliding into his box, but he did it well. Garrett getting on the marks, and that crew goes to work. And look at that, down and away already, going to that stripe. Gonna be able to peel back up there onto the racetrack. That was a good stop by the number 1 machine. There is the number 17, however, Tristan Thuggy Maher, as the camera whips around brilliantly. Now we get to see what Maher does. He's had a few snafus here in the race, almost having a snafu there, getting on pit road, but Garrett, you can tell Maher there was doing everything he could to try and have a good pit stop, trying to carry all that speed wiggle out of the back end of the number 17. Now he's going to have to hit his marks here as he goes into his pit box to put the pressure on Jason Gracias.
Yeah, no mistakes here, Peter, and 17 got all he could coming to pit road. And speaking of mistakes, and he missed there, he just missed the spot. So speaking of mistakes, he just made one. But the 75 of Josh Sobel, he actually had a glitch on his first pit stop. It did not fuel him up, and that has cost him a bunch of time. He was solidly running near the top 5, and that's just a heartbreaker for Josh. When you do everything right, and then a glitch happens and you don't get fuel, that's a heartbreaker. Just like the heartbreaker Tristan just said.
Yeah, I've never had that glitch, but I know it has happened to people, and I don't really know why that particularly happens. But that is a tough break for the number 75. Hopefully, we can get a caution flag and he can kind of reset himself in that whole mess. Here is Jason Gracias, who is currently being scored in the 4th position, 8 seconds or so behind James Lorello, but Lorello is on significantly older tires, about 9-lap older tires than Gracias. But where is the number 17 of Tristan Thuggy Maher, you ask? Well, you're going to be able to see right here. There's Jason Gracias. And here comes the number 17 of Maher. So Maher lost quite a bit of time there with that big mistake on pit road. Philip Scott now peeling out of his pit stall back up there onto the racetrack. I can see pit lane times on my live timing and scoring, Garrett. And just to highlight the pit lane times, Jason Gracias, a 51.7 second pit lane time. Compare that to Thuggy Maher, 54.53. There's about 3 second difference between Jason Gracias and Maher on pit road. That 3 seconds, it's not a lot of time. I mean, it's about how long it takes me to say a few words, but on the racetrack, gaining 3 seconds is extremely difficult, and losing it is a big gut punch.
It's so easy to lose it, Peter, and like you said, it is incredibly difficult to gain 3 seconds here at Pocono. That green flag pit stop, I mean, you'd rather lose, I guess, 3 seconds under green than you would under like if everybody put in their caution, you lost 3 seconds, you can go from first to the end of the field. But under green in these conditions, it doesn't look like any yellows are really in sight. On your last stop, losing 3 seconds is it could potentially be the difference. I don't want to count anyone out, but of all the time to do it, that wasn't it.
So Jason Gracias right now being scored in 2nd. James Zarello is being scored as your race leader, but did pit 9 laps prior to Jason. Right now, Gracias about a 1.5 seconds faster per lap. That's a big significant amount of time gap between what James Zarello is running right now and Jason Gracias, as Gracias gets really close to the turn 3 wall. There's Tristan Thuggy Maher, who has 1 lap fresher tires. That's the good news for Maher. He's got 1 lap fresher tires than the number 1 of Gracias. The problem is they're about 5 seconds apart on the racetrack. Part of that was because Gracias had that 3 second better pit lane time because he did miss his pit stall, but also the fact that Jason Gracias had the fresh tires for that 1 lap. So he's able to put about 5 total seconds on the car behind him. Maher does have fresher tires. I just don't think 5 seconds is catchable. But I've seen stranger things happen here in sim racing. We know Gracias is fast. We know the 17 is fast. And we know kind of everyone else behind them also running good lap times as well. And there's Lorello. Bob Giaquinto there in the number 23 going 1 lap down. He just made his pit stop, and should be able to get his lap back, I think, with those fresher tires, especially because he's got about 15 lap fresher tires than the car right in front of him, James Zarello. You see Bob digging right down there on the yellow line. Garrett, I'm sure Bob just kind of wants to see out this race, get a good finish in, have some fun, and of course he has fun up here in the 3WideTV booth, but he also enjoys being out there on the racetrack.
Yeah, it's never, it never bothers me, Peter. When I first of all, I enjoy doing this with you, but it's great to see Bob out there, and that's the thing about iRacing. Everyone enjoys it. I know even you're a racer deep down. You want to get out there once in a while, have fun, race, go for a win, and to see Bob doing that, he might be running 14th right now, 1 lap down, but he's having a blast. So, and speaking of having a blast, Peter, next week we have 2 races, a doubleheader. So I hope everyone tunes in for that. Bristol Dirt and Bristol Asphalt. That should be a tremendous show here at the Tullamassa Racing League on 3WideTV.
Yeah, I don't know which one I'm looking forward to more. asphalt or dirt. I mean, they both can be kind of a wild card, and I'm sure drivers will have to get quite a bit of practice on dirt. We'll see some drivers who are more familiar with dirt do well, and other drivers that don't, well, it's going to be interesting. We'll put it that way as TNR goes to dirt here in the Cup Series. I think it's the first time in the kind of the Premier Series we've had a dirt race. I know, of course, we've done the big blocks on Tuesday nights before, Garrett, but I can't recall a dirt Cup race before. Maybe I'm wrong in saying that, but nonetheless, it's going to be a lot of fun to see that here on 3WideTV.
Yeah, we did run one dirt race on Mondays. It was our ARCA series, and Peter, it was nothing to write home about. We're not going to talk about that anymore, but I have high hopes for next week. And Peter, a little spoiler for everyone, I am going to be driving the regular Bristol race in my number 7, and Brian Rubel will be driving that number 7, the dirt race. I am not a good dirt racer. I feel like the Coleman's Care Zorse machine deserves a good ride, and I'm going to put it in the top 10 in the first race, and Brian's going to put it in the top 10 in the second race, Peter. I have no doubts in my mind.
Well, that means you can come up here in the booth with me for the second race, isn't that right? Or maybe me and Bob get an extra seat. Just don't get to the pizza this time. Maybe Bob and I can finish it off before you get to it. But anyway, right now out there on the racetrack, Shane Ewing just crept his way back up into the top 5, got around Vincent Valvano, now trying to run down Bill Edwards and Philip Scott in front of him. If you're wondering about tires on these drivers, Ewing pitted on lap number 42. Bill Edwards in front of him pitted on lap number 44, so Edwards has 2 laps fresher tires. Philip Scott a little bit further up the road, he pitted on lap number 45, so 3 lap fresher tires than Ewing. So Ewing's kind of got his work cut out for him here, but he is in the top 5. That is the good news. But up in front, Jason Gracias has retaken the race lead. We didn't see it, but James Arello, the number 13, came down onto pit lane, relinquished that lead, so Lorello now will have the freshest tires on the racetrack. He could go for broke. But the bad news for Lorello is he's currently sitting outside the top 10 in the number 13 machine. Giaquinto there just snagged the wall coming out of turn number 2. You're wondering where the number 13 is on the racetrack. Well, you can see bottom right-hand corner of your screen. He is that orange dot right now working its way through turn number 1 behind the number 35 machine right there of Robert Tripp. Tripp in that green number 35 dot. They'll race their way off to turn number 2. So Lorello, I think he can get himself back in the top 10, but it's going to be a tall order here, Garrett. He's 18 seconds behind Mike Floppy Pellier, who rides currently in 9th.
Yeah, Peter, that's gonna be tough, but like we talk about, with this, anything can happen, and I'm not counting anyone out. Like, this finishing order, in my mind, Peter, is not set from the first position, even with a 4-second lead, all the way to Josh Sobel in 12th. All it takes is one yellow, one mistake, somebody to bounce off the wall and get into someone, and we're going to shuffle it up and deal again and go back at it. So don't give up if you're out there. That's my main thing, Peter. I've had some crap runs turned in the top 10s at the very end out of nowhere, and I've had a good run, such as last week when you said, quote, hell froze over, Gleason's in the top 10. I wound up on pit road, Peter, and didn't have a top 10. So anything can happen out there, and that's what happens here on 3WideTV.
So one thing I wanted to talk about, Garrett, is just how these new Cup cars drive. It seems like you have taken a liking to them. You said earlier that you're having a lot of fun with them. But for the viewers at home who watched, the last few seasons that we ran here in TNR, when we have run the Grand National Series car, the Xfinity car, if you will. Now we're running these Cup cars. How different are they to drive? How do they drive? Is there a tendency, kind of one way or another, that these cars behave like?
Peter, I always notice a push off. So like when we saw the 17 of Tristan Maher getting snug in turn 3 multiple times, you do feel that a lot. At Atlanta, definitely the case. But as the fuel was burning off last week, these cars were showing a tendency to snap loose on guys. And I think we saw that with a couple of the yellows out there. So these cars, I think everyone that so far, like, the feedback's been good. If I give these guys a hot, slick track settings wise, these guys like to race these cars. These cars are racy, and with the fact that they're so snug, guys don't feel like they're gonna slide up into somebody and take them out. Worst case scenario, okay, you're gonna push up into the guy, you're gonna bounce, and then you're gonna both carry on. So these cars are definitely take some getting used to. And I ran an Xfinity race with these guys on Thursday, and Jason Schue, who's a real-life race car driver, and I were talking, and he said, I had to reteach myself how to drive the Xfinity car because we've been driving these next-gen cars, and they're two different animals out there. So, Peter, hopefully we get you out there for a road course race, and you can see how it's done and show us how it's done.
Yeah, well, hopefully I can go out there for an oval race at some point or another as well, because I'd like to. I haven't driven them, actually. In fact, I had to buy the one of the next gen cars actually even broadcast this season, because I didn't own any of them. I didn't own any of these Cup cars, so I haven't driven the next gen car at all yet. So I appreciate your explanation of how they drive, not only for the fans back at home watching here on 3WideTV, but also for myself, so I know what to expect when I finally do jump behind the wheel of one of these cars. Johnny Williams saying, I wish I could have brought the number 9 Williams Lawn Care Camaro here tonight. Yeah, well, Johnny was mowing the lawn on the front stretch at the Atlanta Motor Speedway last week, so we kind of threw him under the bus a little bit, but Johnny, a good sport, painted up a Williams Lawn Care Service mower machine that we'll hopefully see on track next week. But Joshua Kane said it's been a struggle to find one of the series, one of the leagues to kind of race in that fits into the schedule. I completely understand that, without a doubt. It's sometimes hard to find one that meets in your schedule, because it is dedication. It does take dedication, as we see a battle right here on the track between Andrew Beach, who just cracked himself up into the top 5 with a pass on Shane Ewing. And it does take dedication. You have to run every week. Not only do you have to run every week, you have to find practice time midweek. If you want to run up there in the top 5, you got to really put the time in. It takes effort if you want to win these races here in the Total Nonstop Racing League. Whether that's running a whole bunch of official races during the week or running a league every night. I mean, it's not just show up and win. It's not just show up and race. It sometimes looks like it, but it isn't always that. Andrew Beach here showing that he's learning the racetrack. Garrett, Andrew started this race in 14th, now running in the top 5. It's been a good night for the 88 Camaro.
And I've been impressed with Andrew this entire season, Peter, and he seems to have a good personality about him. He joked about wanting to be our in-race reporter running in 20th place. Well, he's doing 15 spots better out there. And I had some fun racing with him in Atlanta, and he definitely has speed, gives respect out there, and he's the type of race car driver we're looking for here at Total Nonstop Racing. So I'm glad to have him, and I hope he pulls off this 5th place. But you got 2 good drivers, Shane Ewing and Jeff Price, behind them, about a second back. We'll see if they could get up there and sneak in that top 5 before this thing's all said and done.
And here is Jeff Price looking to the inside of Shane Ewing. That number 39 back channel production Chevy Camaro whips on by the number 32 up into the 6th spot, at least for now. Ewing having another look back underneath him, as if you're looking at the scoring monitor there on the left-hand side of your screen, you'll see we're down to just 12 more laps to go here at the Pocono Raceway. So sitting right on 30 miles left in tonight's race, average speed of about 150 miles an hour. You do the math. This race does not have long left to go. Just about 9 minutes or so left in tonight's race. If we go caution-free, that is. All it takes is for a little bit of a hiccup out of Jeff Price or Shane Ewing right here, and it could all go up in smoke. Now Jeff Price can set his sights on Andrew Beach, just a couple of seconds up the road, but they are running about 18 seconds behind your race leader right now, Jason Gracias, who is slowly being caught by Tristan Maher. Let's go check out that battle up at the front of the field here, Garrett, because Gracias has a good lead, 2.5 seconds right now. We knew that Maher had a lap fresher tires, but Maher's doing everything he can to erase that 5-second deficit that we saw at the beginning of this run. CC drivers were last on pit road. We saw that big mistake out of Tristan Maher, but he's been solidly chipping away. Let's look at the gap between the drivers over the last 5 laps. You see it was about 3.3 seconds 5 laps ago. Now down to about 2.5. That's about, if you do the math, that's about 0.8 over 5 laps. He's going to need to pick up more. I mean, yes, he's catching. Yes, that's good news. But if he only catches 0.8 of a second per lap, not per lap, but 0.8 of a second over 5 laps rather, for the last 10 laps now, that's only 1.6 seconds. So Maher's really going to have to dig deep here. He's going to have to find something. He's going to have to hope that Gracias maybe makes a mistake or two, and the number 1 has a bobble or a hiccup, which, let's be fair, it's pretty rare out of Jason Gracias for him to have a bobble or to have a little bit of a mistake, as Maher again closed in another couple of tenths of a second that last lap, but it might be a little bit too late for the number 17.
Yeah, I've raced with Jason Gracias even when he was partaking in some of the Beer Street Journal recommendations on a Friday night, and he still didn't make a mistake. So I wouldn't bet on Jason Gracias making a mistake, but Tristan is putting himself in position to capitalize if he does, and there are a couple coming up on a couple cars that could go a lap down in Doziak and Sobel. Rumor was that Doziak is short on fuel. He can't blame me for being his crew chief this week, so I hope he apologizes to me because he keeps bringing it up. The one time I forgot to refuel his car and cost him a good finish. So we'll see if those guys impact this race, as we're taking a look at the 97 of Mike Floppy Tellier and Shane Ewing still battling here inside the top 10.
Yeah, and I think the whole running out of fuel thing, at least based off of a Facebook post I saw recently, runs in the Gleason family there, Garrett. Maybe Doziak could be an honorary Gleason by the end of tonight.
You know, Peter, that picture that my brother took of my father running out of gas, he was, no joke, a stone's throw, to use a term, away from the gas station, and he was going in the opposite direction. So all he had to do was make a little bit of a U-turn, and he would have been at the gas station within 10 seconds, if not that. So my father felt he could make it a bit further than his pickup truck wanted to do it, and he is a mechanic, so you think he would know better. But again, it does run in the family, and that's not the only thing. Obesity and stupidity also run in my family, Peter, so that's unfortunate.
Well, you might have to ask Doze, but maybe he may. I don't know. Maybe, I guess we could still put him in an honorary Gleason by the end of tonight if he does end up short on fuel. Just to go back, this is not. I don't really want to toot my own horn here, but Pocono Raceway was home, or is home, to my favorite ever win in iRacing. It was back when 3WideTV, for those who are taking notes at home, just in case it ever gets into your local pub quiz thing during the week, as Jeff Price here. Look at this, is a good battle. Telly are going to try and take 2 for 1 here. But back before 3WideTV was 3WideTV, there was 3Wide Racing League. And 3WideTV was kind of an offshoot of the 3Wide Racing League when it eventually started to fold and kind of wrap up. But Jeff Price just going to let these two on by for 39, falling back here. Look at Jimbo. Jimbo Casterline there, running in the 15th position. He's going to let these drivers battle it out. But good battle here between Ewing and Tellier. But we're here at Pocono Raceway. I was 2 laps short on fuel, but I had a monstrous lead. Everyone else decided to come down pit road, and I decided, you know what, maybe I can make it on fuel. My teammate, Drew Eisenman, who also used to broadcast here on 3WideTV, just started saving fuel from the get-go. At the beginning of the run, he started saving fuel. I did not. I went to push it. People started pitting early because people said, you know what, if there's a caution, it's better to pit early at Pocono. I said, you know what, I disagree. I'm going to try and save fuel. So I decided to save fuel halfway through the run. And Shane Ewing now losing quite a bit of time. Maybe he's short on fuel. He might be saving fuel here as he lets Jeff Price on by. Price makes it look easy. I'd be all surprised if Ewing here might be saving a little bit of fuel in the tank. But Garrett, Drew caught me with 2 laps to go. I was saving fuel. I knew I was going to be very, very close on the money. Drew, he was keeping his cards close to his hands. He didn't tell me that he was also short on fuel, but he was racing me hard. We're racing hard, and white flag comes out. Drew passes me. I passed him coming out of turn number 1. I said, I can't save anymore. I get in front of Drew, I think in the short chute between turn number 2 and 3. I run out of fuel halfway in turn number 3. I tell Drew, hey buddy, I'm out, go around me. He says, I'm out too. 2 cars coasting to the line, battling it out on the final lap, saving fuel. It was a finish. I'll put it that way. We were both out of fuel. I had just enough in my tank to run out just after him. But had he honestly have had just a few extra drops of fuel, he would have won that race. So it was a lot of fun, and I'll look back on that as probably been my favorite win of all time, because having two cars run out in the final corner and coast to the line, there's nothing better than that, taking it all the way to the line. And we've seen that type of stuff happen here in TNR with races coming down to the wire. Hopefully it comes down to the wire again here tonight. Just 4 laps left, but right now Maher's going to have to gain about 0.4 of a second per lap if he wants to start knocking on the door. Gracias, but Maher's doing all he can, no doubt. And he's done a good job to kind of erase as much of that deficit as he has done.
He's doing a tremendous job, and Peter, that was a tremendous story, and what an incredible visual for our audience to see in their heads 2 vehicles running out of fuel pretty much at the exact same time. And it's even better that it was a friend of yours. And it's a memory you're going to keep pretty much for the rest of your life, and that's why racing and league racing does. You create these memories and these bonds and friendships, and 2 friends here battling for the lead. Jason Gracias, Tristan Meyer. It looks like Jason gained about 0.2 or so on that lap. If Tristan could get close enough to catch a draft, he could cut this gap down, but 1.9 back with 3 laps to go, it's looking unlikely at this point.
Yeah, in fact, he has lost a little bit of ground on Jason Gracias as well, so it was about 0.4 of a second a lap that he needed to catch. Now it's about 6.5 of a second per lap, which is just looking even more improbable as Jason Gracias continues to click off these laps here. 3 laps to go. Let's looking up and down the scoring pylon. Here is a battle. This is James Lorello, who has run down Shane Ewing. Remember, Lorello has made 1 extra pit stop here tonight than the remainder of the field. Not sure really what the story was there, but Lorello is also on fresher tires as such. He's going to look to the inside here of Shane Ewing. I'm sure he's going to make this pass here off into turn number 2. That will move him up into the 8th spot if he can complete that pass. But surprise, Shane Ewing able to hold him off, at least for now. But like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Ewing is saving fuel. There goes Ewing pushing up the racetrack. Lorello with a strong run out of 2 here down the short chute off into turn number 3, and I expect to see James Lorello complete this pass, hug that yellow line as much as he can, get the power down, slide up the racetrack. Hey, couldn't quite slide up. Ewing with a charge out of turn number 3. It's go time. 2 laps to go for these 2.
Tremendous battle, Peter, and like you were alluding to, I kept waiting for the 13 to just take that spot and just keep on trucking, but Shane's got a little bit of power left in that Rayovac 32 Dizzy Motorsports Toyota Camry there.
Yeah, I just wonder, maybe he's been saving fuel and now he's hit his number, and not sure, but here comes Lorello, going to have another attempt here to the inside, this time looking much more promising as the white flag is in the air for Jason Gracias here on the front stretch. Lorello able to finally complete that pass, move himself up into 8th. We'll keep our eyes on that for this driver. It's going to be 2 in a row here. Atlanta Motor Speedway last week, here tonight at Pocono. Holding on to a 1.1 second lead over Tristan Thuggy Maher. Down the back stretch, off into turn number 2 for the final time. Watching those cones that they put up on the wall to try and hit your marks there through the apex. Get as close as you can to the wall. Try and keep that momentum up. As a little bit further back, Josh Sobel and Steven Doziak Jr. not far in front of your race leader. This is a battle for position. As remember, Sobel had to make an extra pit stop in number 75. He's going to complete that pass for 10th. Right back behind him, Jason Gracias comes to the line and wins 2 in a row. Picks up tonight's race here at the Pocono Raceway. Winner of the Giaquinto Shoe Repair 140. Great job there, Jason. Pretty much leading from start to finish just like he did last week at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, a dominant performance. Now let's see if we can figure out who's going to win this battle here, Garrett, as this is a battle for the top 10 between Sobel and Doziak.
Yeah, no breaking news here. I'm rooting for Sobel. I can't stand Doziak, and it's hard to even watch him have any success. And he sails it in there, puts on a little bit of a show. I know he's listening to the broadcast. He probably got distracted. He can't do more than one thing at a time. He can't chew the Fruit Stripe Zebra bubble gum and drive. So that's unfortunate, but I'm glad Josh rebounded into the top 10. He certainly deserved a lot better, and Doze is going to hit turn 3 just for a good measure on the way out. And oh my goodness, Doziak. Crowd favorite, Peter.
Sobel's out of fuel. Sobel's out of fuel. Doziak gets.
Oh no.
Look at that. That's look at this is the burnout of a champion right here. Smacking the wall just to make sure it passes inspection. Oh man, that is look at him. Oh boy. Doze.
He's one of a kind.
One of a kind, bulldozering into the wall. Boy, I think he gets honorary Gleason status for sure. But this driver doesn't. Jason Gracias goes to victory lane at the Tricky Triangle Pocono Raceway here tonight on 3WideTV. Congratulations to Jason Gracias in the number 1 machine here, getting the job done. RC Plains 59 saying, go Philip, hold that 3rd position. Philip, sure enough, holds on to that spot 2.5 seconds up the road from Bill Edwards, who going to finish in 4th spot here tonight. But we definitely going to have some fun post-race interviews for everyone here with our top 3 finishers. Of course, Philip Scott, Tristan Thuggy Maher, and Jason Gracias. So as the racetrack finally falls silent here on the Giaquinto Shoe Repair 140. Definitely a fun one. Only one caution, though, here tonight. Are you a bit surprised by that, Garrett?
I was a little bit surprised, Peter, but Pocono does have a tendency for these cars to get stretched out, so I felt like if we got through the stage break caution the couple laps after without issue, that these guys would be able to race pretty much green flag. But Peter, we've seen guys run out of space coming out of turn 3. Potentially that could have caused an accident, but these guys did a good job not running into each other, and we went clean and green there for pretty much the distance. And Steven Doziak put on a little bit of a show at the end and was able to wreck his car under green flag conditions. So that's pretty cool.
I love the fact that he just bulldozed the wall and then. Sorry, Josh. So Josh's in the chat, but he still ended up with the spot. Anyway, let's see if we can dial up our 3rd place finisher here tonight. Driver of the number 99 World Ninja League machine, Philip Scott. Peter Short, 3WideTV booth. Got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, it seemed like it just wasn't quite your night in the number 99 machine. Had some good pace, but finally falling about 6 seconds behind Jason Gracias at the checkered flag. Kind of tell us about your night.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun racing, a lot of good battles, great, really clean racing. I knew I just didn't quite feel comfortable with the setup in the car, which is like usually I'm just like, oh, just shut up and drive, but like sometime like it just didn't really suit me, this driving style, but I was kind of surprised at how much early run pace I had. I knew that it was a kind of a good thing and a bad thing, because then I knew that I'd shred my stuff up. And so I just kind of I knew that kind of like last week when I charged hard against Jason and fell back because I was just pushing so hard to try to get by. I wasn't pushing super hard, but I was definitely pushing a lot, and dirty air is really tough on flat tracks. So, on flatter tracks. So yeah, I just was trying to get by him and stuff, trying to get up there, but Jason and Tristan were the fastest. I got by Tristan when he made a mistake early on after the restart, but then I didn't want to fight him once he got back to me, and so I just kind of suffered through wearing out my tires yet again, because I was like restarting. Like first start I was restarted 6th and I had to claw my way up, and then 5th claw my way up, So then around when the pits happened, I was just like, all right, I'm gonna run long so I can lead a lap and get a point or something. And I don't even know if we have points for that. And then I just pit kind of late and just chilled, hoped that I could get in front of Bill. That was my main battle, and I got out right in front of him. So then I just managed the rest of the race, gained like a couple seconds on Jason, but I knew that when he tried the undercut on Tristan, I knew he was long gone. So I knew that I was going to be like 8-10 seconds behind him to start, but caught it back because 6. I wasn't really trying to push to get back up to him. I kind of knew I was pretty much third place the whole way.
Well, Philip, nonetheless, a pretty good run for you here tonight. I do want to say, next week we got Bristol. We got the short track and the dirt, a double header here on 3WideTV. You looking forward to asphalt or dirt more?
I feel like I might do better at dirt. Judging by, honestly, it could go either way. It's going to be fun to practice both, but I'm excited for dirt more. I think that that could go more up in the air. Like who knows who could win that? But honestly, everybody, especially like the top 10, 15 or so guys in this league are pretty fast. So it could be anyone's game. But I'll definitely practice. And normal Bristol I really like too. So hopefully I can get a win at some point before the playoffs. I feel way more comfortable this season than I have in other seasons past.
Well, it was a good run for you here tonight. Definitely going to be fun to watch both of the races at Bristol next week. But before I let you go, any shout-outs you'd like to give out?
Yes, sir. World Ninja League, new website, worldninjaleague.org. I'm still working on it, but check it out.
All right, worldninjaleague.org here, represented by none other than Philip Scott. But Philip, best of luck next week, bud.
Yes, sir.
All right, that's going to do it for tonight's third place finisher driver of the number 99 machine of Philip Scott. Now I believe that Garrett Gleason's caught up with Tristan Thuggy Maher.
So, Peter, there's really no reason to even catch up with Tristan Thuggy Maher. We all saw what he did out there. He finished second, came up a little bit short. Let's move on to the guy that actually won the race.
All right, let's move him out of the booth. And no, I'm just kidding.
In all seriousness, Tristan, you had a good run there. What made the difference there between yourself and the number one? We saw a little bit of contact with that turn 3. Seemed to be giving you some problems tonight.
Yeah, so the difference between me and Jason this race was the fact that I slid through my pit box under green flag pit stops. I think that I lost, an extra like 2 or 3 seconds there.
3 seconds.
Just purely because I slid through my pit box. I definitely think I could have reeled Jason in. If I didn't do that, specifically because he had to save towards the end of the race because he was running out of fuel. And I pit a lap after him, so I did not have to save fuel. I was good to go. I could have went all out the whole time, and that's what I did. I did go all out once I got out of my pit stall, and I also think that another deciding factor was Jason got pretty lucky with traffic. This man had cars around him. I know some of it may suck being in dirty air, but draft is super huge at this track. The straightaways are so long. And the fact that he just, in general, had a car behind him, a car in front of him sometimes, going down the straightaways was a huge determining factor, I think. And whether or not I was able to catch him after the green flag pit stops.
So you summed up the entire race perfectly there, and you might have a future in this broadcast booth if this racing thing doesn't work out for you. But I do have one follow-up question, quick. Peter and I were noticing that you seem to be able to manage your tires a little better than we expected. We're used to seeing Jason Graphix be that guy at the end of a green run, have that speed. Do you know for a fact that you were saving tires better than Jason? I know you guys are in constant communication. Do you feel like the green flag run played to your advantage instead of Jason's advantage at Pocono?
I do think that Garrett. I don't know. Jason was a little bit faster on the short runs for sure on fresh tires. I also think that he was just pushing a little bit harder. I'm gonna give out a secret here. I had my brake bias at 44% the entire race, and I think that that's one of the reasons why I was able to save tires, specifically my right front. And I was also double shifting in turn 3, shifting all the way down to third gear to get the car to rotate and then get a good launch off the corner.
Well, now that Peter has that information, I'm sure next season when we come back here, he's going to want to race, and he's going to show you how this track is really run. But that'll be next year. How about next week? We're going to Bristol for a doubleheader. You think you have any shot at either the regular Bristol configuration or on the dirt?
I have zero chance, Garrett. Absolutely zero chance. I might even just bin it into the wall in turn 1. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Well, something to look forward to here on 3WideTV. Binning it into the wall could be very exciting, and if you didn't see it, check out Steven Doziak's last lap. But before we let you go, Tristan, any shout-outs? And always, I appreciate everything you do here at TNR.
Yeah. First, I have to shout out my TNR teammates, Jason, Philip, everybody, Sobel, everybody that was running with us in the TNR chat. Everybody's super helpful. I don't have any of the fancy crew chief apps or anything like that. So I pretty much just depend on my teammates to tell me when, the pit window opens, that kind of stuff. And they tell me, knowingly helping me. So thankful to have good teammates. I just wish I didn't slide through my pit stall because I had some for Jason tonight. Second of all, we have Max Graphics for this beautiful Ford Mustang. Chris Darling does a great job with all my paint schemes. And then obviously TNR, this league. I've definitely found a home in this league, and I don't think that I'll ever leave for as long as this league is here. If anyone's interested in joining the racing, look us up on Facebook, message us, and we'll get you hooked up in the Discord and everything like that. And last but not least, you guys up in the booth.
Well, Tristan, let's never say never. There's definitely hope for me to get you out of this league one of these days, so I'm going to keep working at it. But
I'm looking forward to it.
I love you, brother. Congratulations on your second place, and let's get to the guy that really matters, the guy that won this race. So get the heck out of this booth. Peter Short.
Just know he was the slower guy today.
Well, the slower guy finished in first, Tristan. Just like the guys that are uglier than me have all the pretty girls. Yeah, it's somebody else's fault. All right, Peter Short in victory lane with our winner, that guy that keeps winning, Jason Gracias.
I think that's like saying nice guys finish last. But, anyway, Jason
I
Gracias.
do finish last a lot.
Hey, but Jason Gracias is not finishing last today, finishing first here today in the number 1 machine. Jason, second week in a row that we have you in victory lane here on 3WideTV here at Pocono. I don't really want to call it a Sunday drive because you had your hands full and you absolutely nailed that final green flag pit stop. Walk us through your night.
Yeah, this number 1 Max Graphics Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 was pretty quick. Pocono has always been a track that seems to come to me like Dover. Don't ask me why. I guess living on the East Coast in the Northeast corridor, you tend to like tracks that are fairly close to you. I actually drove by this racetrack on the way home, so maybe the Pocono people were looking out for me. But yeah, it was fun. Tristan definitely gave me a run for my money. I don't know what I was doing wrong there, but I seemed to be burning off my right front just a little bit faster than he did. But thankfully, track position worked out for my benefit, and I was able to take this car back to victory lane.
Yeah, second week in a row here on 3WideTV as well. So congratulations on that. Next week we go to Bristol Dirt and Asphalt at Bristol. We get a little bit of a taste of both next week. What are your thoughts about that?
In practice, we were testing out netcode and what you can get away with here. So as long as people don't race like complete, dingleberries. Bristol should be a fun show. There should be a lot of rubbing on each other, bumping each other, and not causing a lot of wrecks. So that should be fun on the pavement side. On the dirt side, I don't know. The way these cars bottom out on Pocono on cold tires, I can only imagine how bad they're going to be on Bristol dirt. So hopefully hopefully we put on a good show. Hopefully, we show everyone at home what kind of dirt racers we are. I know not a lot of us are very good dirt racers, so that should be exciting, like watching a monkey, take care of a football. But only time will tell. Got to tune in for next week to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, definitely going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it here on 3WideTV. But before we let you go, Jason, any shout-outs you'd like to give out?
Yeah, thanks to 3WideTV for being the premier sponsor, and Schue's Lawn Service for being our presenting sponsor. Thanks to Bob Giaquinto and Giaquinto Shoe Repair for being the race sponsor tonight. It's cool seeing Bob out on the track in the polyhedral cathedral car. So go check them out. Thanks to all the league sponsors: Bagcraft, Thornton Graphix, Dunn, Raceway Park, Stay Tuned Sports Podcast. Garrett Gleason for putting the league back together and taking over as lead admin this season. Chris Darling, Max Graphics, maxgraphics.co for being the sponsor of my car, and also the guy who painted the car. These Jeff Gordon vibes are really cool to see on the track, and shout out to everybody in the TNR chat, especially Thuggy, Philip, and Sobel, Floppy. I think we all had fun racing. I know it was fun leaning on each other. Yeah, so hopefully we can keep this good racing streak that we had all season, keep that train rolling all the way through the final.
All right. Well, Jason Gracias, definitely going to be a lot of fun next week, and great to have those shout-outs. So once again, congratulations, and we will see you next week at Bristol.
Yeah, thanks, guys, and thanks everybody in the chat for watching tonight. Drop a like on the video, comment, subscribe. Share the TV that you're big fans and supporters.
Absolutely. Well, that's going to do it with our post-race interviews here, Garrett. And we've got a little bit long here tonight in our post-race interviews, so I don't even know if we can bring up the race results. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Look, it worked. That's good news. Jason Gracias taking home the win in the number one machine, number 1 for 1. Thuggy Maher coming home in second. Philip Scott in third. Those are our podium finishers tonight. Bill Edwards in fourth. Andrew Beach, who was our biggest mover of the race here tonight, started in 14th, finishes in 5th. Great run for the number 88 here. Mike Floppy Tellier coming home in 6th. I don't think he was one of the drivers who had to save fuel there late in the race, as he was gaining spots. Got by Jeff Price, Shane Ewing, and others there late. Price coming home in 7th. Lorello finishing in 8th. He was on an alternate pitch strategy in the number 13. Shane Ewing finishing in 9th. He was definitely saving fuel there late in the race. Stephen Noziak Jr. with that... I'm not going to call it an incredible move. It definitely wasn't incredible. I don't even think it was a credible move there late, but Josh Sobel ran out of fuel, so I don't think we can give Doze any credit, but he did take 10th from Sobel. Tripp's going to come home in 12th. Bob Giaquinto in 13th. Vincent Valvano 14th. Jimbo Casterline finishing in 15th. And Jason Schue. Not exactly sure what happened to the number 3 here tonight, but an early departure for our presenting sponsor here, Schue's Lawn Care Service. Jake Eisberg, they're finishing in 17th. And Ryan Rubel started for Garrett Gleason here tonight, with Gleason alongside me in the booth, but Garrett Gleason keeps the name on the car. And that's the 18 drivers that took the green flag at the start of the race here tonight. But next week, Garrett, Bristol Motor Speedway, a little bit of asphalt, a little bit of dirt. We'll see you on, well, not asphalt, but concrete. We'll see you on the concrete. And then hopefully we'll have you up here in the booth as well, as I'm sure we'll have all types of chaos in the dirt race.
I would love the opportunity, Peter, and if you don't mind, could I catch a flight to Bristol? I think if I get there early enough, I could lock the gates and not let any of these guys in. I think I could win both races next week.
All right, well, we'll just jump in my Microsoft Flight Simulator plane and fly down from Scranton, Pennsylvania, down to Bristol, Tennessee. How about that? But folks, thanks for tuning in here tonight, and thanks to all of our series sponsors. Start off with tonight's race sponsor, Giaquinto Shoe Repair, Shoes Lawn Care Service as well, and basically everyone else that makes it possible. Like you, our reviewers. I mean, we're not the public broadcasting system. We don't have pledge drives or anything like that, but we do have super chats as well as super thanks. So if you want to give a super thanks, we'd appreciate that. You can do that in clicking on any of our videos and clicking the super thanks button, as well as if you want to become one of our pit crew members as well. 3WideTV pit crew for $1 a month. You get special emotes during the chat. We got RC Plains, who was one of our pit crew members. Garrett Gleason as well. In fact, Garrett, looks like you're sporting the silver badge now. I think that's 6 months of being a pit crew member, so pretty cool to see that. Thank you for that. But any final thoughts here before we head on to Bristol?
No, great race. It was nice to see a green flag run, and I don't think we'll see that at Bristol, but the excitement's going to be right up there all the same, Peter. So let's look forward to it, and let's everyone have a good night. We'll see you next week.
Absolutely. Stay safe and all that good stuff, folks, and we shall see ya.